The topic I want to pick up, though, today is technology in India. And if all of us have not followed it, I live in Seattle, so I've lived offshore for a long time. As I've gone back, I've realized that there's a massive amount of energy, innovation, and investment that's happening in India. And I think it's different from what I see elsewhere. So today I wanted to invite a colleague, a friend, someone I've looked to and worked with for, I think, over 5 years now, Debjani Ghosh. Debjani is president of NASSCOM in India. And we're so excited to have you with us, Debjani. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you for that. You're very kind. Debjani, I thought we should start right away by just telling our audience what NASSCOM is and what does it do?
If I think about it, NASSCOM is the glue that pulls the entire industry together and then creates the partnership between industry and government to catalyze not just growth of technology in India, innovation in India, but technology adoption in India. We were started by the industry way back when the Indian industry was 50 million in revenue. That time, the industry leaders got together and started NASSCOM to bring the power of collaboration to play so that we could work together to achieve the aspirations and ambitions of becoming a global leading voice with respect to technology services and products. And since then, NASSCOM has acted as a catalyst for growth. And I think we're pretty unique. I haven't seen any other organization out there that does what we do. And I see ourselves as a catalyst and really a bridge that connects the industry and the government for that much needed public-private partnership to drive change.
100%. Debjani, it's part of the reason I wanted you to speak here, because if I look across the world, it's quite unique in the public-private partnership that you've been able to achieve. And I know a lot of that is obviously you at the helm. I mean, you're a technologist by heart. You've been at it and you have so much passion and energy. But really, it's also the time, I think, has come. And I think one of the things you told me when I met you a few years ago is think digital, think India. And I think this whole aspect of the time is here and let's just get started, I think is fantastic. And so, Debjani, I'm going to change gears now. NASSCOM's doing some fantastic work, and I'll let our audience kind of dive in and double click into that at their leisure. But I want to now extract us a few layers up. And it strikes me, and as you know, I lived in Silicon Valley for a good part of my career. I've spent a lot of time in Tel Aviv in Israel. When you look at these tech innovation centers around the world, there's a few things that are always common. The talent piece is very obvious. The infrastructure component is super obvious. And the innovation ecosystem is super obvious. And as you think about digital in India, I want us to try and unpeel each of those three. And I'm going to start with this whole digital public infrastructure. Talk to us a little bit about what you're doing, what you're seeing, and where we at in India on it.
So I'll start with a very short story. 2008, right? We go back. India had 17% of Indians had bank accounts, right? 17. At that point, I think BIS analysis, if I'm not wrong, had done a study and said it will take India 46 years to get to a point where over 80% of the population has bank accounts. That 2054, right? That's when we would get there. Any guesses, Sanjay, how long it took us to get to 80% plus bank accounts?
You tell me.
6 years. 6 years.
Wow.
And this kind of disruption happened because of the two things, technology and talent coming together to create the magic. Completely out of the box thinking. The starting point was our digital identity, Aadhaar, where literally every Indian has a digital identity. And then the government helped by bringing together and building these plug and play technology building blocks on top of Aadhaar, a payment interface, a data exchange interface. And this gave rise to what we call digital highways or digital public infrastructure. In finance, it is the UPI, which accounts for nearly 70 or 80% of all digital transactions that happen in India. And the beauty of the digital public infrastructures, we've done it in finance, we've done it for health, COVID, the vaccination platform that drove over 2 billion vaccines in India, delivery of 2 billion vaccines in India. We are now doing it in e-commerce. The beauty of it is the design principle. It has to be inclusive from start. It has to be secure from start. It's built on open protocol networks versus world platforms. So it's completely interoperable. And it is all about ecosystem play and partnerships. Government builds the highways. Yeah.
I just want to unpeel that because this is amazing. I want to just, for our audiences, double click on a couple of things, and I'll bring you back to where we just were. I think you're talking about the UPI, the payment infrastructure across India, and you're talking about the fact that there's 260 million users in the country today that are actually on it. I think the numbers I saw last time was over 90% of the people in India will likely have used a cashless payment mechanism. So this is pervasive. This is at scale. This is happening. When I'm in India and I'm sort of at a fruit stall buying a couple of fruits, I can actually make that payment with a QR code in the UPI gateway. And that is, I think, the point you made, which is, we've come a long ways from the start we had. But I think, Debjani, you very quickly get into how we got there or how you got there, right? And you talked a little bit about the stack. I think it's called the India stack. But it's this layered on components, it's this Lego blocks that are purposefully, intentionally, through partnership. And I think that's very different. And I want you to talk a little bit about it, that have been put together. And as those building blocks have come together, you've got the basis for a more open, more inclusive set of things that come on top of it. Give us a sense for that, because I don't think all of us see this public-private infrastructure and this building block in a very thoughtful fashion.
Yeah, it took a visionary like Nandan Nilekani, which I'm sure the world has heard about by now, to come out with this concept, right? And then, of course, a brilliant team of people like Dr. Pramod Verma, etc., who executed flawlessly to the concept, right? The thought process was very simple. You have a digital identity. Every Indian will have a digital identity. Build on top of that a digital payment system, right, which is completely cashless and completely interoperable, built on open network protocols. And protocols are not new, Sanjay. We've had protocols that allows email users to, send emails from Outlook to Hotmail or Gmail or whatever, right? So it's not a new concept. It's basically learning from what open protocol used to do. Even if you look at GIS, or you look at even the internet before it got turned, it got privatized. If you look at that, they were all digital public
100%.
infrastructures. They were open, right? So Nandan took the same concept of building on top of that to say, okay, you have a digital identity, build a very, very robust and secure digital payment layer on top of that, which is completely interoperable across banks, across companies, etc. And on top of that, have a data exchange layer, so that, for example, your DigiLocker, what we have created, where all your data can sit and again sit securely, and then allow industry to come in and build services and build innovation on top of that, right? You have always talked about the Indian startup ecosystem. The Indian startup ecosystem thrives because of this India stack, because of the foundation that it has built. The largest insurance company in India, Zerodha, it has been built on this infrastructure, right? So this is what allows the innovation to happen, and it's open, it's affordable, it's completely inclusive. So it starts with the grassroots in mind. It allows everyone to play. We've heard about UPI. UPI is successful because of Indian startups like Paytm, because of MNCs like Google, who all come in and build on top of it and continue to innovate on top of it, right?
So Debjani, we got it. So look, the digital public infrastructure, I think you called it the highways, kind of the basic building blocks, very thoughtful, very methodical, very structured way of getting the layers in place and getting the infrastructure to a point that true innovation can happen in a very inclusive, very dispersed way. And I think kudos and congratulations. And I think where the country has come on that. I want to change gears a little bit. Look, all of that is for nothing if you don't have the right talent. And if you don't have the right energy and the ecosystem and the innovation. Talk to us about those two elements. Where's India at?
That's our biggest competitive advantage, our people. technology is getting democratized so fast. It's our people who can leverage these new technologies, whether it's generative AI today or something else tomorrow, to create magic, to create to solve for these problems. And one of the initiatives, again, NASSCOM has driven in this country, is bringing the industry and government together to drive a massive uh, at-scale skilling initiative called Future Skills, to ensure that every college student is at least skilled on the foundations of technology. And most importantly, on that one most important skill that we need, which is learnability, the ability to continuously learn, continuously forget everything they have learned. So this is a huge one for us, Sanjay, because we strongly believe that this is our biggest strength, our people. And we have to keep our people relevant. I mean, we aspire to be the talent nation for the world. And with such a young population, median age 29, I call our, the new generation in India, Generation AI, because they're born with it and they know how to use it. They don't worry about it. They don't worry about losing jobs to it. They see it as a tremendous productivity augmentation boost, right?
And you're just touching upon the innovation piece, but just on the people side, I mean, your point is very simple. The demographics are leading the way because you've got the young population, they're coming out of college. You've got a very structured mindset and thoughtful process around how do you train people in the right things. And so then the demographics just kick in, right? You've got that.
I think demographics and mindset, they both have to go together.
So let's talk about mindset, because this comes back to entrepreneurship. It comes back to innovation. It comes down to invention. I mean, I'm seeing so much magic now come out. It's actually energizing every time I'm there. I kind of feel like I'm getting left out when I'm in the US. What's driving that? And give us a sense for the energy that's going on in India right now.
So, first of all, a huge push from both government and industry to build out the startup ecosystem. The good thing, let's think about it, there are tons of problems. And if you solve a problem in India, you are going to solve it for the world, right? Whether you solve given our diversity, given the challenges that we have, right? It's the best playground for innovation and the way I see it, right? Just the things that used to hold us back more than anything else was fear of failure, a large part of our education system. The government's driving one of the biggest reforms in education, the national education policy, completely changing how education happens in India with respect to how we think, how we learn, how we teach, right? The way that we are creating market access for our startups, that, okay, you have a good problem, good solution to a good problem. You can make money, you can monetize, which earlier it was very, very difficult to even think about it, right? And then celebrating not just the successes, but the failures. I mean, all of this, we have a national startup program, by the way, and I'm very privileged to be on the board of the advisory committee of this program. But this is basically looking at how do we grow the startup ecosystem for 10x, 100x innovation? What do we have to do? And I think it's just the entire connected ecosystem coming together, the large companies, government, VC, academia, everyone is driven by that one purpose.
Debjani, just listening to you, I'm getting so energized. But really, here's what I took away from what you just said. A very thoughtful, very methodical, very well-structured mechanism to putting the highway, the infrastructure, the components, the building blocks upon which innovation can happen, number one. Number two, just the talent base, the population, the demographics of people that are coming into work, the average age of the population, and a very thoughtful approach to training, skilling, resourcing to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. And then the third one I love, because it is the ecosystem, it is this culture of innovation, it is a mechanism of actually injecting energy and getting this to be at a fundamental ground roots level with inclusiveness, with participation from everyone. And then as you start getting those three things right, it's no surprise that you're on such an amazing accelerated pace. Debjani, I know we're up for time. I just wanted to thank you. I know that we'll post a couple of links so people can double click. I have enjoyed my time with you. Every time I meet with you, I walk away inspired with the progress that's happening in India. Thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to working very closely with you.
Thank you, Sanjay. Always so good. And I always learn every time I speak to you, I listen to you, I learn something new. Thank you so much.
You're very kind. Thank you. And good day to everyone.